From Lagos, Nigeria, this is News Central. I'm Felicity Ezewike. The top stories tonight. President Tinubu meets with service chiefs after nominating former Chief of Defense Staff General Musa as new defense minister. U.S. Appropriations Committee holds congressional briefing to examine alleged persecution of Nigerian Christians in Nigeria. President Vladimir Putin accuses European leader of thwarting peace deal, says Russia is ready for war if Europe seeks one.
In business, we tell you that Nigeria's Oil Content Board introduces $100 million equity fund to strengthen local production.
And in sports, Super Eagles coach Eric Shell releases a 55-man provisional squad list for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations as Nigeria aim for a fourth title. Details and more later on.
Thank you for joining us. Tonight begins now. President Bola Tinubu is demanding greater efficiency and stronger results in the ongoing fight against insecurity across parts of Nigeria. The president met with service chiefs and heads of intelligence agencies at the State House on Tuesday, where the closed-door meeting lasted for more than an hour. Following the briefing, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, described the discussions as highly engaging, noting that the president issued fresh directives aimed at boosting national security efforts. He assured Nigerians that security agencies are now coordinating more effectively to guarantee a peaceful and safe Yuletide celebration nationwide. One of our top stories tonight, President Bola Tinubu has nominated former Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa as the new Minister of Defense. In a letter to Senate, President Godswill Akpabio, Tinubu conveyed General Musa's nomination as the successor of Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, who resigned on Monday. General Musa is a distinguished soldier who served as Chief of Defense Staff from 2023 until October 2025. He won the Colin Powell Award for soldiering in 2012. Still talking security, the Senate has reshuffled key committees in the bid to boost efforts to curb insecurity in the country. Senate President Godswill Akpabio, through the Selection Committee, appointed Senator Yahaya Abdullahi as chairman of the National Security and Intelligence Committee, replacing his role in national planning. Senator Shehu Buba now leads the Livestock and Animal Husbandry Committee, while Senator Mustapha Musa takes over national planning. Senator Osita Ngu, the Senate Minority Whip, is now acting chair of the Air Force Committee due to the former chair's absence. The leadership says the shake-up aims to strengthen legislative oversight and improve response to security threats. Retired Major General Chris Olukolade is former Director of Defense Information. He joins me now from our Abuja studio to speak on the nomination of Christopher Musa as Minister of Defense and the Tuesday meeting of President Tinubu with service chiefs. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for this.
Talk to us about your thoughts on the nomination of General Musa as the minister.
Well, as you have noted and many others, it has received widespread acceptance and applause as a fitting decision at a time like this, considering the background of General Musa. If we look at his leadership as Chief of Defense Staff and his vast experience in terms of command and operations, this is the most fitting personality for this job at this time. And I think it has received widespread acceptance, both within the armed forces and the public.
All right, the Senate is yet to confirm. So what are the kinds of questions you look to see them put to the nominee, and that will show their seriousness in the approach to reviewing nominees from the president?
First of all, I will know, it is clear that this will not be his first appearance before the Senate. The Senate will know his background by now. And I expect that his appearance this time will be more of a smooth formality, considering the fact that his previous appearances must have convinced the senators that he has what it takes to lead the defense ministry at a time like this. And besides, I know that he's competent to engage anytime if you look at his pedigree and his previous appearances and interactions. He shouldn't have any issue. And I believe that the Senate should not have any issue passing this as quickly as expected.
Talk to us about his recent experience as Chief of Defense Staff and how that likely influenced his nomination, and how that will also influence his approach when he is confirmed.
If you look at the pedigree, the background of his career as a military officer, his training, and then the various appointments he had, up to the most recent being the Chief of Defense Staff. His performance in all of this are indicative of his capacity to deliver at a time like this. And I think this appointment is best for the nation at this time, for the fact that General Musa will find it very easy to connect with the military and with the public. He will be able to also, within the military, will be able to connect with generations. If you have previous experiences of this nation and having military officers as defense ministers, it's been good, but this time, considering the fact that General Musa has been in our most challenging security situation, in the management thereof, he's been part of it, and then only recently he took what is now looking like a short leave. His being back will be a fresh input, and I think that he can connect with the demands and with the expectations. The officers and men are definitely excited at the return of General Musa to lead the defense ministry.
I mean, prior to him being appointed the Chief of Defense Staff, in 2021, he was the commander of Operation Hadinkai, the military's flagship counterterrorism operation in the Northeast. Talk to us about his leadership at that time, for someone who watches this space, and how perhaps he will bring, what he will bring from that experience to what we have currently, terrorism, kidnapping, and banditry.
Thank you very much. General Musa spent a long period within his career in that territory, culminating in being appointed as the theater commander. He has also commanded the multinational joint task force. All of these are based in the Northeast to oversee this operation. So he has it at his fingertips, whatever be the challenges there. And with the way he has pursued his appointment or his task as Chief of Defense Staff, you know that this is a man who has very good understanding of the mission area. Now, the work of the Ministry of Defense, as statutorily stipulated, is to oversee the logistics and the welfare of the armed forces, which is what is required to drive not just the major operations in the theaters all over the Federation, but the conduct, the performance of the armed forces. Nobody can fool this general, considering his knowledge of both the mission area and the military career, which is the major preoccupation of the Ministry of Defense. I think he will find it smooth, and is sure to enjoy the cooperation of both the service personnel as well as the staff of the Ministry of Defense, who are very crucial in discharging his duties. Now, he also has the ears of Mr. President. This appointment is a proof of the level of confidence the President has in him, and that will also be an additional way for him to drive this appointment to a very good success.
The expectation is that he will be confirmed by the Senate. So I'll just go ahead and ask, what specific challenges do you think Musa would likely face in addressing Nigeria's ongoing security issues?
Well, Well, the challenges is likely to face, first of all, for the Nigerians to move in line with the policies that may soon come up. You will know that this general has been part of the operations all this while. And for people to adjust to its new status, so that even the military personnel themselves will not still be seeing him as the chief of defense staff. They will, understand that his role now as Minister of Defense is above that of the previous, and give him some cooperation in that regard. The challenge will be for the public to adjust and see that he means well, and not as if he's continuing in that position as Chief of Defense Staff. This time it's more, he has some political and administrative touch in, influencing the operations of the military and the defense ministry in particular. In terms of procurement, it still needs the attention and understanding of the legislature and the Ministry of Finance, which has often been the matters that borders them in the defense sector. By the way, if you think of the defense sector, it has to involve both the veterans and those in service. And all of these challenges are now on his desk. Previously, he's enjoyed the understanding of his fellow veterans. And this time around, I hope they will also understand if he has any challenge in addressing their needs.
Okay.
The cooperation he needs is from both the service and the government, in terms of the three tiers of government, the legislature, as well as the executive.
His nomination does seem to enjoy a lot of support. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you so much for this privilege. And I wish General Musa a very good success in this appointment.
Coming up, Governor Adeleke of Osun State dumps PDP ahead of governorship election. We'll bring you details and more after the break. Thank you for staying with us. Ahead of Osun State governorship election slated for August 2026, Adebayo Adedamola has clinched the Osun PDP governorship ticket with 919 votes after Governor Ademola Adeleke withdrew from the race. Adedamola emerged as the consensus candidate following quick moves by party leaders and delegates to steady the process. There are reports that ahead of his selection, there had been days of internal talks aimed at keeping the Osun PDP united. Party officials say it shows strong confidence in his leadership and electability. Supporters called it a chance to strengthen the party's grip on the state.
The candidate that got the remaining of his Adebayo 919 votes.
If Governor Seyi Makinde is desperate to become president come 2027, he should use another state as a tool, not Osun State. We are PDP members, bona fide PDP members, in a state whereby we have 25 House of Assembly members, a speaker, we have 5 House of Rep members, we have a senator, and a governor from another state will come to our state to dictate for us. We won't take that. We won't take that. And this is a message to everybody that we won't take this anymore. We are leaders of our party and we won't take this anymore. They came here to do what I can call a drama.
So before now, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke had resigned from the People's Democratic Party, under which he was elected senator and later governor. Senator Adeleke announced his resignation in a post on X late Monday, attaching a later dated November 4th, an address to the PDP chairman of Ward 2, Sagba Abogunde in Ede North. In the later, he blamed prolonged leadership crisis within the PDP's national structure as his reason for leaving. Senator Adeleke did not indicate the political platform he will be joining next. And to developments from Rivers State, 5 students of the State University in Port Harcourt have been kidnapped by suspected gunmen at their satellite campus in Emuoha local government area. The Emuoha campus of Rivers State University, located on the outskirts of the city, has been witnessing a surge in crimes, leading to frequent protests by students demanding relocation to the main campus due to insecurity. In a recent protest, representatives of the Social Science Student Association of Nigeria, Mariam Udungweru, narrated how porous and dangerous the campus has become.
Today, as of today, early this morning, 4 people were abducted, and their security guard killed with an automatic rifle. An automatic rifle shooting a dog. Who is going to be next? A human being. They are tired, they are hungry, they are stressed. This particular issue is something that has been holding them. They want to come back.
That we are going to now engage the governor. The government has set up the campus to ensure that they listen to the cries of our students. Okay? And then 3, that right now we're going to concentrate efforts as ensuring that we get our students that are kidnapped safely back. And then 4thly, those who engage in this evil must be caught. We'll pursue them, we'll chase them till we get them. So you can go home.
News Central's correspondent, Biola Festus, and a student representative from the Rivers State University, Mariam Udungweru, join me now to provide some highlight of what happened today, some perspective really. Biola, let's start with you. The school spokesperson who addressed the student talked about approaching the governor when they have their convocation over the weekend. But before that, has there been a communication from the government as to what they are doing about the situation the students are complaining about?
There have not really been any reply from the government about the complaints of the students. Now, Emuoha local government area in Rivers State has been a flashpoint when it comes to insecurity in the state. This campus was just set up some 3 years ago. It was set up in 2022. And since then, students have been complaining some pockets of crimes around the school premises, and also from student hostels that are outside of the campus. Now, just today, after their protest, let me also add that the students had protested some 6 days ago. They protested about harassment on students on campus. 2 days ago as well, the local government chairman announced that 2 parties were apprehended, that 2 parties linked to the trouble on campus in that school. So recently, what the local government chairman said today, just some hours ago after the protest by the students, and of course after the students were abducted, he said he was going to provide the local vigilantes to station at the school gate to provide security for them. Well, this is not to say that there's not been security structure around the school. There's, in fact, a police station right in front of the school, of the campus. So this issue of insecurity and harassment on students has been going on for so long, and long enough for the government to have taken action on the matter.
Biola, some reports say it was 4 students that were kidnapped. Others say 5. And then in videos online, I saw Mariam talk about a security person that was also that was killed in that scenario. Can you confirm any of this?
What Mariam was saying was a security dog was shot just to allow the perpetrators carry out their acts without any obstruction, not a human.
Okay, so it's just 4 persons that were kidnapped, not 5.
The police say 5, the students say 4. So we are not very certain about the number right now, but we are relying on what the police say. Because the police PPRO has confirmed, I sent a message to her, and she replied with a press statement that it was 5 persons actually abducted.
Okay, police say 5, students say 4. Mariam, how did you get your figures? Now that you're saying it's 4 and the police is saying 5. Let's start with that.
Okay, good evening, Ma.
Good evening.
My figures were gotten exactly from students that base very, very close to this place where the incident happened. There was a voice note that was circulating about a particular girl that lived in the compound. And in this particular compound, there are 5 rooms, and the landlord is also inclusive. And these students that were adopted were also living in this particular area. There were 3 students from 400 level, 2 from psychology, and 1 from one other department. And then a brother of another that came to see them. So they are basically 4. That was what I was told and what I confirmed.
Okay, talk to us about your protests and the issues around it. I know one of it is relocation from the Emuoha campus. Could you shed more light on what is stopping the relocation?
Okay, sorry, ma, my voice is cracked. Like she earlier said, she made mention of the fact that Emuoha has been situated there for over 3 years, and that is valid. And for these 3 years, there have been several complaints. That place is not developed or civilized enough to house a university. It should have been well taken care of before such was situated there. We will not deny the fact that security agencies are not placed in that place. In fact, there are 2 army checkpoints or more. There is a police station right opposite the school, and there are also statements that there is community vigilante, also very active, and these same crimes still perpetuate. Like, these criminals still continue what they are doing, time immemorial. The one that struck it for us was after the rape case, this particular killing of the security dog with a rifle. A rifle was shot at the dog. Imagine if they wanted to shoot it at a human life would have been lost. So that is why we are pledging that the safety of a student is very much important than whatever education we want to achieve or whatever certificate we want to get. We should bring them back to the main campus. The security issues here at the main campus is easier to manage than that of Emuoha. Emuoha is not developed enough for us to even tackle whatever the issues are. Now the police have said they have gone for their search. How do we know where these guys have gone to hide? The bushes are very thick. It is really, really hard for them to figure out exactly what the issue is. But here at the main campus, or maybe at Moscow Road town, where other places, other satellites are sited, it is easier for them to be able to curb this issue because there is developed enough to cater for security challenges like this.
Mariam, I'll still stay with you and ask, aside the relocation, what other issues are the students protesting about?
The students are protesting about is insufficiency of hostel spaces, because this is the originator of why they now go into the community to get houses for themselves and also try to be able to catapult themselves to school. Also, they're also facing transport challenges. When there is rainfall, they don't move because bike is the only transport means which they can use to get to school. There's no shuttle, there's no taxi, only bikes. So when it's raining, there's absenteeism from class. Another thing they also complain about is infrastructure. Like I said about the hostels, there are other infrastructures in the school that cannot cater for them. We're not saying that in the main campus this is all in excess, but we're saying that at the main campus there is welfareism of students at a higher level than that of the satellite campus because they feel neglected. I'm not there with them. I'm just a honorable representing them. In fact, I base in the main campus, but I've been to the satellite campus multiple times and I exactly know what they are facing. I've tried to even place myself in their shoes. So I really know what they are going through. These are majorly the issues that they face: insecurity, lack of hostel spaces, lack of transport network, lack of even security at that place that they decide to even go and rent their houses.
Mariam, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for speaking to us. And Viola, thank you for the coverage.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let's tell you that the United States House Appropriations Committee is set to hold a joint congressional briefing on Tuesday to investigate rising reports of violence and alleged persecution of Christians in Nigeria. The meeting, led by Congressman Mario Díaz-Balart, with support from members of the Appropriations, Foreign Affairs and Financial Services Committees, will feature testimonies from the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, as well as other security and human rights experts. Lawmakers say the aim is to compile a report requested by President Trump and to outline possible U.S. interventions to help protect religious minorities in the country. The Senate has taken another major step towards strengthening Nigeria's emergency response system. Lawmakers on Thursday passed for second reading a bill seeking to establish a single three-digit toll-free number for all emergencies nationwide. News Center's National Assembly correspondent Sage Ibrahim reports.
Sponsored by Abdulaziz Yaradua, seeks to create a nationwide emergency number that citizens can easily memorize and dial during crisis. Yaradua told lawmakers that the measure will end the current fragmentation in emergency reporting across the country.
Recent statistics show that close to 90% of Nigerians own mobile phones. Therefore, a toll-free emergency number will go a long way in ensuring that Nigerians in distress are just a dial away from the relevant emergency institutions. The number will provide a one-stop shop for receiving distress calls from the public and dispatching the same to appropriate response agencies who will respond to the needs of callers. The proposed 112 toll-free national emergency line is easier to learn, remember, and dial. It will save a lot of Nigerians the stress of having to memorize more than one emergency number. This bill clearly intervenes to facilitate the emergency response system in the country by coordinating the response numbers for effective administration and management.
Support for the bill was strong, with lawmakers stressing that insecurity and disaster response require faster communication channels.
One of the impediments or challenges we are having during this heightened insecurity, is lack of proper communication or effective communication to the various affected agencies. If we do this, I think we are enhancing and we are also contributing to solving the security challenges and other related criminalities or emergencies that we are facing.
So what this bill seeks to achieve is to further give strength and muscular expression to the need for the general public to report what they see by having a dedicated emergency line where they will report what they see, as opposed to multiplicity of emergency lines that we have across the nooks and crannies of the country.
A bill for now to establish a nationwide toll-free emergency number for reporting of emergencies throughout the Federation and for related matters 2025 SB 402 second reading taken. The bill referred to the Committee on Communications to report back within 4 weeks.
With the bill now committed to the Senate Committee on Communications, lawmakers say consultations with regulators and telecom operators will determine the operational framework for the new toll-free service. In Abuja for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
A brief drama disrupted Tuesday's Senate session when President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, paused proceedings for a private discussion with several senators, which lasted for almost 40 minutes. Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin was initially presiding over the day's sitting when Akpabio entered at around noon and swiftly took over during a presentation of scheduled bills. Within minutes, Senate Leader Opeyemi Bamidele, followed by other lawmakers, including Asuko Ekpeyong, Adamu Aliero, Jimo Ibrahim, Titus Zam, among others, approached the chair, leading to a noisy chamber and stalling plenary for almost an hour. Members of the academia, diplomats, among others, converged on Lagos Tuesday as the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs organized another foreign policy lecture series to to dissect pressing global issues.
Insecurity continues to rise. The NIIA gathered scholars to deliberate on the global challenges with the theme, the Middle East crisis and global security, a topic that continues to shape international relations, global stability and regional power dynamics. Speakers at the lecture provided an in-depth analysis of the geopolitical tensions driving the crisis, while highlighting how global powers, regional actors, and long-standing political grievances have prolonged instability.
Key factors in the crisis, the Israelis and the Arabs, or the Arab Palestinians. These are the key actors in the crisis. And we believe that these two actors need to come to a compromise in order to resolve the lingering crisis in the Middle East.
The session explored the evolving conflict in the Middle East, its humanitarian consequences, and the wider impact on international security frameworks.
Lecturer deliberately keeps giving us a solution because he believes that there can be no permanent solution. Although somebody says there can be enduring solution. And I think from his analysis, it seems that he prefers the two-nation solution to the Israeli-Palestinian crisis. I believe so. I accept it. Now that is the best in the circumstances that we can have.
We have several underlying factors and several social forces, as the lecturer identified them, that need to be taken into consideration. Going forward, the two-state solution is one option. The one-state solution is another option. And the question is, which of them should we have? And the lecturer has provoked all of us into thinking about those complexities, has advocated a pragmatic approach to addressing the issues and managing the crisis. But he thinks that the crisis will do a lot better without unilateral action by very powerful states. And we hope that everyone would be involved. The point, of course, is that whatever happens in the Middle East affects global prosperity and security.
The lecture attracted a diverse audience of students, diplomats, journalists, and foreign policy enthusiasts committed to understanding global issues and Nigeria's role on the international stage. The NIIA says the series is part of its ongoing effort to deepen national conversation around foreign policy, peace, and international cooperation.
Let's go back to the drama that played out at Tuesday's plenary when President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, paused proceedings for a private discussion with several senators, which lasted for almost 40 minutes.
Not allowed except to move that the business of the day be called on. What I'm trying to say, Mr. President, is that what is happening now is unparliamentary. What you are doing here is unparliamentary. You should have done this thing outside. There should always be a meeting outside. When we come to Parliament, we do parliamentary business. And I believe what we are doing here, everything is at standstill now. We are not doing business, parliamentary business.
Your point of order is noted.
What?
Your point of order is noted.
Not sustained. No, then they should leave. They should leave here and then we move on. I'm calling on us to move on. Based on this order. Or go inside and talk. Or we go on recess.
Can I answer? Can I answer? Everybody that you see here was invited by the chair. So for a brief discussion in continuation of today's sitting and in line with the order you've just read, whether or not we should proceed in view of a very urgent assignment at the villa by 1 o'clock. And please approach the chair so you can be part of it.
I don't want to be part of it. I'm opposed to this one. I will not come. It's unparliamentary. It's unparliamentary. It's wrong. It's wrong. So I will not approach the chair.
Away from Nigeria, in a major development for international justice, a Libyan man accused of war crimes has been handed over to the International Criminal Court. Khalid Muhammad Ali was arrested in Germany earlier this year under a sealed warrant issued by the ICC. He is accused of overseeing horrific abuses, including murder, torture, and sexual violence at Tripoli's Mitiga prison between 2015 and 2020. German authorities recently transferred him to the ICC's detention center in The Hague, where he will face trial. This will be the court's first trial of a Libyan suspect, marking a significant step towards accountability for crimes committed in Libya's detention facilities. Guinea-Bissau's Electoral Commission has said it can no longer complete the November 23 presidential election after armed men seized ballots, tally sheets and computers from its offices and destroyed the servers storing the results. Deputy Executive Secretary of Guinea-Bissau's National Electoral Commission, Idrissa Djilabo, spoke a week after army officers seized power on November 26, one day before the commission was due to announce provincial results from the tightly contested vote. Several buildings, including the Electoral Commission's headquarters, came under attack during the takeover. Major General Hota Intae was sworn in as the new transitional president on November the 27th, halting the election process. And to one of our top stories tonight, President Vladimir Putin has warned that Russia is ready for war if Europe seeks it, accusing European leaders of trying to derail a peace deal on the Ukrainian conflict. His statement comes ahead of a meeting with U.S. envoys in Moscow to discuss a proposed ceasefire. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expects updates from the U.S. negotiators and expressed willingness to meet U.S. President Donald Trump again. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry claims its forces captured Pokrovsky, a key logistics hub in eastern Ukraine. However, the Ukrainian army says it still holds control over the northern part of the city and fighting continues. We're on a short break. On the flip side, we have business, sports, and entertainment news. Do stay with us.
This segment is brought to you by MoneyPoint.
Telling you that Nigeria's content regulator has unveiled a $100 million equity fund to boost indigenous participation in the energy sector with stricter compliance rules coming next year. NCDMB Executive Secretary Felix Obe said the fund, created with the Bank of Industry, will support high-growth local service companies. From January 1, 2026, firms must present a compliance certificate confirming payment of the mandatory 1% remittance to obtain permits. Obe noted Nigerian content levels have risen to 61%, driven by objects like NLNG Train 7 and the AKK pipeline. The board also plans new technology challenges, expanded training, and tighter checks to curb fraudulent applications. Let's also tell you that Nigeria's economy grew by 3.98% in Q3 2025, slightly above last year's 3.86%, driven by stronger activity in agriculture, ICT, finance, and non-oil sectors, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Oil output also improved, averaging 1.64 million barrels per day. Aggregate real gross domestic product rose to 57.03 trillion naira, with services contributing the largest share. Despite the progress, the organized private sector says the gains are not yet felt by small businesses and households. Analysts noted that stability in forex and improved investor confidence supported growth, but warned that weak manufacturing, uneven sectoral performance, and persistent structural bottlenecks continue to limit broader economic relief. We now go on a short break. When we return, it will be time for stock market reports. Don't go away. Now, looking at the equities markets, the all-share index rose to 144,928.36 points, gaining 1.2%. And of course, our market capitalization increased to about 92.376 trillion naira. The session showed clear buying interest across most major sectors, boosting overall sentiments. Now, looking at the sectoral performance, we see the banking industry edge up 0.19%, supported by mild gains in GTCO and some other tier ones. Insurance advanced 0.16% to, of course, as select counters like custodian attracted light demand. Oil and gas added 0.02%, reflecting a quiet but positive session for players such as Orlando. And we also see that consumer goods gained 1.08% with renewed interest in beverage stocks. Finally, industrial goods also edged up 4.3%, of course, lifted by solid demand for Dangote cement, all showing that the market actually closed firmly in the green. And that's all for business. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
This segment is brought to you by MoneyPoint.
Hello and welcome to Sports. Super Eagles coach Eric Shell today unveiled a 55-man provisional squad for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations finals in Morocco. Topping the list of names is team captain William Troost-Ekong, star forward Victor Osimhen, midfielder Wilfred Ndidi, and goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali. 21 players from the last squad that finished as runners-up at the last tournament are included. Newcomers like Blackburn Rovers right back Ryan Alebioshu, Pisa midfielder Ebenezer Akinsamiro, who is on loan from Inter Milan, and Victoria Pilton striker Rafi Durosimi are also included. Nigeria Premier Football League stars Abdul Rashid Shehu, Ebenezer Harcourt, Ekesin Okorie, Chisom Orji, and Adekunle Adeleke are also named. A final list of 28 players will be submitted to CAF in the coming days. The Super Eagles will face Egypt in an international friendly on the 14th of December before flying to the Moroccan city of Fez, where they will play their Group C matches against Tunisia, Tanzania, and Uganda. Meanwhile, Super Falcons forward Uchenna Kanu today unveiled her biography titled Football, My Escape at the Madhouse Unilag Lagoon front, marking a major milestone for one of Nigeria's most influential women's footballers. The book offers an unfiltered and moving account of Kanu's journey from playing football in the streets of Aba to becoming a record-setting collegiate athlete in the United States and a global figure in the sport. Kanu described the biography as a story of resilience, faith, and triumph, capturing her childhood hardships, personal battles, and the life-changing role football has played in shaping her.
My inspiration behind Football, My Escape is really personal to me, and it's my journey, is my story, my first-hand experiences across board. And I think every girl child that is reading it, is important that they pay attention to the details of it, to understand the passion behind it, to understand that it's not always going to be perfect, to understand that it's possible to suppress your pain, it's possible to be a strong person, stand up for yourself, and to be confident in what you do. And it's important to be passionate about sports.
The National Sports Commission has announced plans to formally approve Nigeria's official Flag Football Federation, with elections for new executive members expected to take place immediately after its inauguration. In a statement issued on Tuesday by the Special Assistant on Media to the NSC Director General, Kola Daniel, the Commission clarified that no association, local or international, has previously been officially recognized to represent Nigeria in any flag football competition. The release further stressed that the recognition process is ongoing and no final decision has been made. However, confirmed reports indicate that one party who have been funding the sport and fielding national teams which qualified for the Flag Football World Championships holding in Dusseldorf next year has filed legal proceedings against the National Sports Commission. And that's all we have on Sports News tonight. Entertainment is up next.
And now in entertainment, actor Taye Arimoro has formally rejected the joint disciplinary report issued by DGN, AGN and AMP over his on-set clash with Peggy Ovire during Peace of Love, calling the investigations flawed and the sanctions imposed on him unlawful. Now, through his lawyers, he argues that the guilds misidentified him, withheld key evidence and denied him a fair hearing, despite his not being a member of any of the bodies involved. He also challenges claims of falsified CCTV footage and faults the committee for lacking transparency. Arimoro is demanding an immediate withdrawal of the report, a public apology, and the reversal of all bans, threatening legal actions, and 1 billion naira in damages if the guilds fails to comply. Well, that's a very big story. Of course, we'll bring you more updates as it pans out. But out of the African continent, it's official. The Netflix documentary, Sean Combs, The Reckoning, produced by rapper and businessman 50 Cent, has been released, offering a 4-episode deep dive into the life, career, and controversies surrounding music mogul Sean Combs. Now, the series revisits Combs' rise to fame, business empire, and the recent legal scandals that have placed him at the center of intense global scrutiny. However, Combs' representatives have strongly condemned the project, describing it as a shameful hit piece. They accuse Netflix of using stolen and unauthorized footage, calling the documentary a fundamental injustice and a severe breach of personal trust. The involvement of 50 Cent, a longtime rival of Combs, has further fueled the controversy. Well, fans expected that one. It's officially out, and a lot of people have different things to say about it. But Combs, of course, is spending time for a crime he did commit. So we'll see how this one pans out as well. Those are the biggest stories in entertainment. I am Sam Dandy.
Let's tell you, a federal high court in Abuja have granted bail to human rights activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore. The charges centers on alleged defamation and cyber-stalking of President Bola Tinubu. Showore's lawyer, Marshal Abubakar, successfully moved the bail application, relying heavily on Section 162 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, arguing that a court could not deny bail solely on the offense's severity. Justice Umar granted Sowore bail on self-recognizance, citing consistent court attendance and no evidence of national security endangerment. And that's our offering tonight. As always, we would love your feedback. Please share them or your eyewitness report using the number showing now on your screen. You can follow us on all platforms. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DFTV channel 422, Go TV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. As always, thank you very much for your kind company. Have a good night.